The mayor responds to allegations he's associated with the KKK.
It's been hard to miss those political ads over the last few months, but how do they compare to previous campaigns? Experts weigh in.
After a final victory in the Breeders' Cup over the weekend, Triple Crown winner American Pharoah is now getting settled into his new home in central Kentucky.
This is WKYT News at 6.
Good evening. He calls it false and insulting. Tonight, Lexington Mayor Jim Gray is responding to an allegation that he's connected to the Ku Klux Klan.
This comes after a hacker group threatened to expose identities of hundreds of KKK members, and one report linked Mayor Gray. Kristen Kennedy talked to a local NAACP leader about that report. It's our top story at 6.
Several Lexington leaders, many who know Mayor Gray on a professional and personal level, are calling the claims bogus.
It's just a smokescreen, I believe.
Lexington Fayette County NAACP President William Saunders works with Mayor Gray, respects him, and calls the claims against him absolutely false. Saturday, a guest posted on an internet text storage site the names of 9 senators and mayors he claims are associated with the Ku Klux Klan. Mayor Gray being one of them.
We spend time together, we march together, we have lunch together, we meet together. He has an open door policy. I just show up on the spur of the moment. He takes me and we talk about issues that's going on in our community.
Mayor Gray had choice words for the person claiming he has ties with the hate group, writing, "This allegation is false, insulting, and ridiculous. I have never had any relationship of any kind with the KKK. I am opposed to everything it stands for. I have no idea where this information came from, but wherever it came from, it is wrong. A hacker group is threatening to release all names of public leaders associated with the hate group later this week."
The Southern Poverty Law Center estimates the Klan currently has between 5,000 and 8,000 members. In Lexington, Kristen Kennedy, WKYT.
And Knoxville Mayor Madeline Ruggiero was also accused of having ties to the Ku Klux Klan. Ruggiero, who says she comes from an interracial family, is calling the claims defamatory and wants them retracted immediately.
Tonight, we are learning more about a crash that killed a tractor-trailer driver along Interstate 75. It happened around 9:30 last night in Laurel County. State police say 46-year-old Pavel Zhirko's tractor-trailer was rear-ended by a car. They say he then pulled over and got out of his truck to check on the damage and on the other driver. But they say a third vehicle then hit and killed him. Police say at this point they aren't sure if anyone will be charged.
It'll depend on the outcome of investigation and the results of the blood test.
Zhirko was from Nicholasville. Friends say he leaves behind a wife and 4 children. Kentucky voters head to the polls tomorrow to decide many statewide offices, including governor. In the WKYT Herald Leader Bluegrass poll released last week, Democrat Jack Conway had a 5-point lead over Republican Matt Bevin in the race for governor. Both men are making campaign stops around Kentucky today in a last-minute push for votes.
We've got a positive plan for job creation. We've got a positive plan for workforce development and to help our employers find the employees with skills they need in this modern economy.
After we've put together a cabinet, after we have gotten the budget together, as part of this next session, we must fix the pension crisis.
We checked to see if independent candidate Drew Curtis would be making any appearances today, but we did not find any public events.
It's hard to miss a political commercial these days, but many times the question is, are they true? And are they different compared to campaigns of past years? As WKYT's Miranda Combs found out-of-state donors may be leading to more untruthfulness than normal.
There are very small limits on what you give to a state candidate.
It's pretty obvious by the piles and the satire, this guy is into politics.
Now, these groups that come in and spend independently of the candidates have no such restrictions.
John Sheaves is a reporter for the Lexington Herald Leader. He's covered state government for years and uncovered something unusual about this year's campaign for Attorney General.
What struck me as interesting was this is the first time I'd really seen them getting into the state of Kentucky at the State House level in what we call a down ticket race.
It's the oldest rule in
Chiefs is referring to out-of-state independent groups donating through what are called issue PACs, where they can give much more money than the typical state donations will allow. And Chiefs says it's not about political affiliation. Many out-of-state corporations that pay into the PACs pay to both sides of the aisle.
They're not paying to support their politics, they're paying to get access to the decision makers.
The federal PAC money also isn't as transparent, Chief says, and hard to track.
This is called dark money. It's money that cannot be traced at any time unless the group should volunteer the information as to who its donors are.
PAC money, Chief says, is mostly used in attack ads. That takes us to the governor's race.
If you think you're not going to be held accountable, then you're free to keep on hammering away stuff that's been disproven.
Political journalist Al Cross says the amount of negative ads in a closely contested race isn't unusual, but he admits the governor's race is the worst he's seen.
I think Matt Bevin has probably been the object of more unfair advertising than any candidate, big statewide candidate I can remember, because a lot of these claims that Democrats are making in their ads have been largely disproven ever since Mitch McConnell started using them against him in 2013.
Originality is not a priority in this campaign.
Herald Leader political reporter Sam Youngman says the attacks from both sides of the governor's race have been a continuation from last year. Democrat Jack Conway has continued Mitch McConnell's themes of pointing out Matt Bevin's inconsistencies.
Matt Bevin, conversely, has done the same thing that Mitch McConnell did in the general election, which is to try to paint the Democrat, in this case Jack Conway, last year was Allison Lundergan Grimes, as a rubber stamp for President Barack Obama.
But Cross says Conway's attack ads are working, whether true or false.
The money behind the Democratic ads has clearly I think, had an impact on how people view Bevin.
But lately, Youngman says there's been a change for both candidates when it comes to ads.
You've also seen a bit of a subtle shift from Jack Conway. After months of really going after Matt Bevin's habits of saying things that aren't exactly true, Jack Conway's now sort of moved to more introduce himself to voters and talk about what he would do as governor.
In this recent ad from Bevin, his wife wanting the attacks on her husband to stop.
And shows that Matt Bevin is still on defense. He's still having to respond to Jack Conway's ads. That's not a position you want to be in down the home stretch.
However, Youngman says this will be a close race. Voters are tuning in at the last minute this go-around, which will be a help for both.
Here are two guys that are very well known, but not well liked, not even by their own parties. You know, it's remarkable that you would see two guys who aren't struggling to build name ID, who are still sort of stuck with their numbers where they are.
And Cross says part of the uptick in negative ads has to do with these super PACs who many times get their money from unknown places, and because of that it's really hard to hold them accountable for what is said in those ads.
And that really changes the game when it comes to these ads. If you cannot hold them accountable, then it's a free-for-all, right?
It's all about accountability, as Cross said. They'll keep hammering down on the same issues that have already been disproven just because they can. Miranda, thank you. Stay with WKYT throughout the day tomorrow for complete Election Day coverage. We'll have the first returns as they come in during WKYT News at 6. We'll have live reports and updated returns during special election coverage on WKYT from 7 until 8. And our coverage will continue on WKYT.com after that. Well, he won the hearts of many horse racing fans this year. And this weekend, Triple Crown winner American Pharoah easily won the final race of his career, the Breeders' Cup Classic at Keeneland.
A lot of us were cheering him on. Well, today the champion left Keeneland and moved to his new home in Woodford County. As Sean Moody tells us, he'll be receiving some rest before starting a new career.
It's tough to imagine a better retirement home than this. American Pharoah will trade in racetrack dirt for hilly meadows at Ashford Stud.
You couldn't have scripted a better ending.
Adrian Wallace and the rest of the Ashford Stud staff were relishing every minute of American Pharoah's final race at the Breeders' Cup on Saturday.
Well, as you can probably tell from my voice, I still haven't quite recovered, so that in itself is a signal of how exciting it was.
Pharoah got a big send-off at Keeneland with the police escort to Woodford County this morning. He had a pretty big crowd waiting on him.
This horse really captured the hearts and minds of the American racing public.
American Pharoah will be out of the spotlight for a little while here at Ashford Stud as he adjusts to life on the farm, but you will be able to visit him soon.
we want to let him settle into life here at Ashford Stud first, so we're not going to begin our tours until probably the beginning or middle of December for our tourists.
They expect to bring in some of the very best mares. It's not a stretch to say that American Pharoah might be the most sought-after stallion in the world.
You'd have to say yes. Yeah. I mean, there are some very good stallions around, and we're lucky to stand quite a few of them. But in terms of profile and in terms of excitement, this is a horse that really has captured hearts and minds.
In Woodford County, Sean Moody, WKYT.
And great that he's staying right here in central Kentucky. You can find out more about how to get tickets to tour Ashford Stud on our website at WKYT.com.
Tonight, UK basketball fans will get to see how the team stacks up against another team. The Cats tip off in about an hour in their first exhibition game of the season. Rob Bromley joins us now live from Rupp Arena with a preview. Hi, Rob.
Hello and good evening from Rupp. Kentucky and Ottawa out on the court right now. First exhibition game for the Wildcats. Ottawa, a Division II school from Kansas and the alma mater of Mitch Barnhart. So I'm sure it's a proud night for Mitch. And of course, getting his team out on the court against an opponent, John Calipari will learn more about his squad. He said after the blue-white scrimmage, it's his job to figure out what the Cats have to do to win. And he did not see it in the blue-white game. So the process here in the preseason goes on.
We're still trying to figure out exactly how we're going to play, who we're going to play and how we're going to play. One of the things I told them in there, guys, you know, we need to get better or I end up playing 5 or 6 guys. You know, we got to together get better or you play 5 or 6 and you make sure that team is a good enough team to go. I'd like to play more people.
And tip-off here in Rupp is in less than an hour, 7 o'clock against Ottawa University. It is an internet-only game, so you can see it on the SEC Network Plus. I'll have much more coming up shortly in sports as we will hear from transfer Michael Mulder. In case you missed it a little bit earlier, Kentucky number 2 in the AP poll, preseason poll out today. North Carolina number 1. Sam Amber will look at the top 25 coming up shortly in sports. But for now, that's it from Rupp. Back to you.
Rob, thank you. Kentucky opens the season in just 11 days against Albany.